Daniel was a young man, full of dreams and aspirations, living in the ancient city of Jerusalem. He was known for his wisdom and his unwavering faith in God, which set him apart from his peers. However, his life took a dramatic turn when he was violently taken from his home in Jerusalem. The city, once bustling with life and activity, was now a place of sorrow and loss for Daniel. He was carried away to Babylon as a captive, along with many others from his homeland. The journey was long and arduous, filled with uncertainty, fear, and the constant threat of danger. Even though he was far from home, Daniel never lost his faith in God. He continued to pray fervently and seek divine guidance, trusting that God had a plan for him, even in this foreign land. In Babylon, Daniel faced many challenges. One of the first and most perilous tests of his faith came when he boldly refused to eat the rich food served in the king's palace. The food, though luxurious, was not prepared according to God's laws. He knew this food was not prepared according to God's laws, and he was determined to remain faithful to his beliefs, no matter the cost, even if it meant risking his life. Instead, he chose to eat vegetables and drink water, a simple diet that honored his commitment to God's commandments. His resolve was unwavering, and his faithfulness did not go unnoticed. God blessed Daniel for his faithfulness. Despite the simplicity of his diet, he grew stronger and healthier than those who indulged in the king's rich food. He gave Daniel wisdom and understanding, gifts that would serve him well in the years to come. Daniel's knowledge and insight were unparalleled, and he quickly gained a reputation for his intelligence and discernment. Daniel's wisdom impressed the king of Babylon. The king, recognizing Daniel's unique abilities, sought his counsel on many important matters. The king realized that Daniel was a special young man, one who possessed not only great knowledge but also a deep and abiding faith. He put Daniel in charge of many important matters in the kingdom, entrusting him with responsibilities that required both wisdom and integrity. Daniel was a shining example of faith and courage in a foreign land. His story is a testament to the power of unwavering faith and the extraordinary blessings that come from staying true to one's beliefs, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. One night, the king had a dream that troubled him deeply. He couldn't shake the haunting images from his mind. Desperate for answers, the king summoned his wise men and magicians. With a stern command, he demanded they reveal the meaning of his dream. But despite their knowledge, none could decipher it. News of the king's distress reached Daniel. With unwavering faith, Daniel prayed fervently to God for insight. God answered Daniel's prayer. He bestowed upon Daniel the wisdom to interpret the dream. Daniel courageously approached the king and unveiled the dream's profound meaning. The king was astonished. He realized that Daniel's extraordinary wisdom was a divine gift from God. In gratitude and awe, the king elevated Daniel to a higher position in the kingdom. The king of Babylon, in his insatiable quest for absolute power and reverence, erected a colossal golden statue. This statue was not merely a symbol of his reign, but a testament to his unyielding desire to be worshipped by all his subjects. He issued a decree that everyone in the kingdom, regardless of their beliefs or backgrounds, must bow down and worship this golden image whenever they heard the sound of musical instruments. This was a test of unwavering loyalty and devotion to the king. The king's decree came with a dire and terrifying warning. Anyone who dared to defy this command would face a horrifying punishment. They would be thrown into a blazing furnace, a fate that promised certain and agonizing death. Among the people were 3 courageous men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were friends of Daniel. They stood resolute in their faith and refused to bow down to the statue, boldly defying the king's order. These men worshipped only the one true God and would not compromise their beliefs. When the king heard of their defiance, he was consumed with fury beyond measure. His anger knew no bounds. In his rage, the king ordered the furnace to be heated 7 times hotter than usual, ensuring that the punishment would be even more excruciating and inescapable. The 3 men were bound tightly and led to the furnace. The heat was so intense that the flames killed the soldiers who took them up, a testament to the furnace's deadly power. But as they were thrown into the flames, something miraculous and awe-inspiring happened. God was with them, and an angelic figure appeared in the furnace, shielding them from the fire. When the king looked into the furnace, he was struck with astonishment and disbelief. He could not comprehend the sight before his eyes. Instead of 3 men, he saw 4 men walking around in the fire, completely unharmed. The 4th figure had an otherworldly presence, resembling a divine being, a messenger from God. The king realized that this was no ordinary event. It was a divine intervention. God had miraculously protected Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego from the flames. Overwhelmed by this miraculous event, the king praised the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, acknowledging his supreme power and sovereignty. This event profoundly changed the king's perspective and left an indelible mark on the kingdom. Years passed and a new king ruled Babylon. This new ruler, unlike his predecessors, was known for his ruthless ambition and insatiable desire to consolidate power. He sought to establish his authority over the vast kingdom, and in doing so he surrounded himself with advisors and officials who were eager to gain his favor. Among these officials were men who harbored deep jealousy and resentment towards Daniel, a man of unwavering faith and integrity. This king was deceived by jealous men who despised Daniel. They saw Daniel's devotion to his God as a threat to their own influence and power. These men, driven by envy and malice, devised a sinister plan to bring about Daniel's downfall. They knew that Daniel's faithfulness to his God was unshakable, and they sought to exploit this very trait. They convinced the king to issue a decree. They approached the king with flattery and deceit, suggesting that he should establish a law that would elevate his status above all others in the kingdom. The king, blinded by their praise and eager to assert his dominance, agreed to their proposal without fully understanding the dire implications. For 30 days, no one could pray to any god or man except the king. This decree was proclaimed throughout the land, and the people were instructed to show their loyalty and devotion to the king alone. The penalty for disobedience was severe and terrifying. Anyone who violated the decree would be thrown into a den of lions, a fate that meant certain death. Anyone who disobeyed would be thrown into a den of lions. The den was a dark and foreboding place, filled with the roars and growls of hungry lions. It was a place of fear and dread, a symbol of the king's absolute power and the horrifying consequences of defying his authority. Daniel knew about the decree. He was well aware of the danger it posed, but his faith in God was stronger than his fear of the king's edict. Daniel had always been a man of prayer, and he was not about to abandon his devotion to God, even in the face of such a dire threat, but he continued to pray to God 3 times a day. Daniel's prayers were a source of strength and comfort to him, a way to maintain his connection with the divine. He prayed with a steadfast heart, trusting that God would protect him and deliver him from harm. He prayed with his windows open, facing Jerusalem. This act of faith was a testament to his unwavering commitment to God. Daniel's prayers were not hidden or secretive. They were a bold declaration of his loyalty to the Almighty, even in the face of persecution. Daniel's enemies saw him praying. They had been watching him closely, waiting for an opportunity to accuse him. When they saw him praying, they knew they had the evidence they needed to bring him down. They reported him to the king. The king was devastated. He had not anticipated that his decree would ensnare a man as righteous and loyal as Daniel. The king respected Daniel and valued his wisdom, but he was bound by the law he had enacted. He had to punish Daniel. Despite his reluctance, the king had no choice but to enforce the decree. He ordered Daniel to be arrested and prepared for the terrible fate that awaited him. He had him thrown into the lion's den. The den was a place of darkness and danger, filled with the sounds of the lion's roars and the scent of fear. Daniel was lowered into the den, and the entrance was sealed, leaving him alone with the beasts. The king couldn't sleep that night. He was tormented by worry for Daniel. The king's mind was troubled, and he spent the night in restless anxiety, unable to find peace. He regretted his decision and feared for Daniel's life. At dawn, the king rushed to the den. As soon as the first light of day appeared, the king hurried to the den, his heart filled with hope and dread. He called out to Daniel, his voice echoing in the stillness of the morning. "Daniel, servant of the living God!" he called out. The king's voice was filled with urgency and desperation as he called into the den, hoping against hope that Daniel had somehow survived the night. "Has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions?" The king's question hung in the air, a plea for a miracle. He waited, his heart pounding for a response from the depths of the den. "My king, live forever!" Daniel called back. Daniel's voice rang out strong and clear from within the den. He was alive, and his words brought a surge of relief and joy to the king. "My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions." Daniel explained how God had intervened on his behalf, sending an angel to protect him from the lions. The beasts had been rendered harmless, their ferocity tamed by divine power. "They have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight." The king was overjoyed. Daniel's innocence and faith had been vindicated, and the king's heart was filled with gratitude and relief. He ordered Daniel to be lifted out of the den. The king's command was carried out swiftly, and Daniel was brought up from the den unharmed and triumphant. Then he had all of Daniel's accusers thrown into the den. The king's justice was swift and severe. The men who had plotted against Daniel were themselves thrown into the den to face the fate they had intended for Daniel. The lions overpowered them and crushed their bones before they even reached the floor of the den. The ferocity of the lions was unleashed upon the accusers, and they were swiftly and brutally destroyed. Daniel's faith and courage never wavered. Throughout the ordeal, Daniel remained steadfast in his trust in God. His faith was a beacon of hope and strength, guiding him through the darkest of times. He remained faithful to God, even in the face of danger. Daniel's unwavering commitment to his faith was a testament to his character and his deep trust in the divine. And God delivered him time and time again. Daniel's story is a powerful reminder of the strength of faith and the protection that comes from trusting in God. His life was a testament to the power of prayer and the unwavering support of the divine. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.